This is Nathan and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are taking a look at a scenario where Switzerland forms an empire. Now, Switzerland, if they wanted to expand, they are in a very bad spot. Surrounded by France, Germany, Italy and Austria. But they do have opportunities like Austria and Liechtenstein, but what if they were buffed? No NATO, by the way. What if they were buffed and wanted to go out and form an empire? That's what we're taking a look at today. So, Switzerland's going to have to be very careful here. They're surrounded by three not superpowers, but they're surrounded by three major powers that could stomp them if they started to get out of hand. So they're going to have to play their cards very carefully. To begin with, they're going to invade Liechtenstein. Literally nobody notices this. It's a very quick war and it wouldn't even be noticed. But the next job Switzerland's going to be doing is invading Austria. Now, this is their only other option. They can't expand into a great power. They are bordering because that is death. So Switzerland will be attacking Austria. So Swiss troops will exit out from the border and go through the very mountainous areas of Austria, but they will be successful in these areas and will successfully break out of the mountains and get up to the more important areas of Austria. Now, what one area of important Austria area is? Vienna. So Switzerland will push over, capture Vienna, and will basically try and capitulate the entire north area, as this is going very successfully, and Austria will capitulate. Now, there is one country that could definitely say something about this, and that's Germany. They're not going to do anything about it, because, in fact, Germany would probably say something about it, because Germans are dying in this war, but let's take a look at the peace treaty. And as we can see in the peace treaty, Switzerland will be fully annexing Austria. This is the only way they're going to be able to expand further, which is going to be into the Balkans. And that's where they're going next. As Slovenia rolls into... for God's sake. Switzerland rolls into Slovenia. This is one, to get access to the ocean, and two, land. Switzerland will send their troops in and will absolutely steamroll Slovenia, capturing I don't even know what the name of the city is. And I'm actually gonna do this on video. In the peace treaty we see full annexation again. Now, I would like to mention that Italy just went from bordering 4 countries, well, technically not, but you know what I mean. They went from bordering a lot of countries to being nearly surrounded by Switzerland in the north. And Italy's kind of like, what are you doing? And there was no response from Switzerland. But at this point, Switzerland thinks it's time to play a card that could go either way. It could go really well and they get a bunch of land from it and very economically stable lands, or it could go terrible and they could lose their empire already. That is the invasion of Germany. Now, they will be recruiting some countries into this war. They will not be allying these countries, but they will be recruiting them. We have Poland, France, which is definitely a big one, not Sardinia, and the Netherlands. Now, Poland is revenge. Poland wants revenge, and also there may be persuading here because Switzerland is a pretty rich country. Maybe not France. I think France just wants some of Germany. But you do need to realise Switzerland is working with France, one of their neighbours. This is, it's an interesting choice considering that, that might be a future target of yours. But altogether, these 4 countries will begin their invasion of the German Federation. I think that's what it's called. So to begin with, Poland is literally going to make, slim to no gains. Same with the Dutch. They're going to make a couple of gains, but then fail. The main forces are going to be coming up from the south, which is going to be hard because Berlin's here and also the other areas. Switzerland's main target is to capture Bavaria, and this goes very well. In all reality, somehow the Swiss are actually met with kind of open arms here. Probably wouldn't be, but they kind of are. And we see Switzerland being able to successfully capture Bavaria. We see French troops traverse through Alsace-Lorraine into Germany. That probably wouldn't happen. But at this point, Germany's arriving, and they're saying nope. The German forces will be able to successfully push back the French and Swiss forces, and sadly, the Netherlands are beginning to get pushed back, as well as Poland. Now, Germany is having a free-front war here. The main focus is going to be the front between Poland and Switzerland and France. But France gets an idea. See, the Netherlands is probably going to lose. They're probably going to get invaded fully by the Germans. So France says, how about we go through Belgium? Well, looks like the French are doing a Germany in World War II and World War One. And Belgium gets absolutely clapped. Belgium is just destroyed, and Luxembourg, you'd probably also get invaded as well. And now we have French troops, with also aiding the Dutch troops now entering in from a full front, as a full front with Dutch, French, and Swiss troops is now solidifying. We see the capture of Frankfurt, which is an absolute loss. And Germany is kind of like, yeah, we're not going to win this war, are we? Like, they're up against some really powerful countries here, minus the Netherlands. So Germany will agree to peace terms as they surrender to hopefully save their country. So let's take a look at this peace treaty. And in the peace treaty of Germany, they actually kind of get away. Look, with how much land they lost, I'd say they got away pretty easily. Can't say the same for Belgium and Luxembourg. We can see that Switzerland takes almost all of Bavaria, as well as a chunk of this area. France will annex half of Belgium, Netherlands will get the rest of it, as well as France annexing all of Luxembourg. The Dutch will gain the land they wanted after World War II, and Poland gains barely anything. Yeah, they're probably not very happy. But at this point, Switzerland's gonna stop. You know, they just expanded into Germany. They probably ain't looking the best, considering, I mean, they did work with France, Netherlands, and Poland, but they're probably not having the best, views from, countries like Italy, Czechia, Serbia, or Greece, or even in Spain. So, Switzerland will wait a couple of years before making the next move. And in those couple of years, nothing happens in Europe. Until somebody goes, you know what, let's disturb the peace and invade Croatia. So, sorry Croatia, you ain't standing a chance here. Croatia gets absolutely slapped around this war. They lose their coast, and, they lose Zagreb, and Croatia surrenders. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. And we can see that, Switzerland's goal here was to literally expand their coastline, and they do so when they make Bosnia mad. Yeah, you can't win it. Not everybody can win. But at this point, Switzerland looks like they are attempting Chile, but, oh my god, these borders are horrible, I'm not leaving off here. But at this point, Switzerland is going to start raising up its army. It's going to start recruiting more soldiers, and it's going to do a lot of stuff. And this is mostly because they want to invade Italy next. Now, unfortunately, unlike Germany, they did ask a couple of countries if they want to join. Nobody accepted. Well, except from one, but we'll get to them in a minute. Actually, two. I changed my mind last second. But after about 2 years of preparation, Switzerland's now in the top 15 strongest countries in the world. I'd say they're about 13, but where Italy is 10, so pretty evenly matched. But those two countries in question are Libya and Albania. Wow, one of them is internally destroyed, and also probably gonna be in the middle of a civil war soon. And another one is not strong. It's okay, though. Switzerland's probably going to be doing most of the carry. Don't ask why Libya's here. After years of preparation, Italy will declare war. Jesus Christ. Switzerland will declare war on Italy. this is going to be the hardest war yet. They really don't have the help of France to carry them. They're going to have to carry themselves. So, the first target of Switzerland is to capture the northern area and try and make a defence there. So, what's that strategy? Blitzkrieg. Swiss troops smash through the Alps and, well, they're trained for the Alps. But they enter out from every front. They are unsuccessful in capturing Venice, but they do encircle it. So they encircle Venice, which is not a huge Australia. They can always push back. But we see a very successful push over here as they completely take over this region. And it's around this point that they are successful in their goal, kind of, as they are able to push up to this front and put a defensive force. Only problem is, you really did underestimate Italy. Italy now pushes back Switzerland, almost reconnecting up to Venice, and they begin pushing back, nearly cutting off Switzerland from the coast. Well, they do, actually. Yeah, that definitely didn't go well. So how about we do something else? Let's snake down the coast, maybe invade San Marino, and let's snake down the coast, which this is a very tough operation, and then attempt to do an encirclement, which fails. And what I mean by fail is it completely fails, it gets pushed back. Okay, this is bad. At this point, it's a stalemate, and nobody's making progress. Italy's preparing troops for the invasion of Albania, which, I don't know why you would even do that. But, Switzerland decides to make a really tough move. They bulk up a lot of troops right here, and, you know, they're taking troops away from this front. But that's because, once Italy sees that they're taking troops away from this front, they're like, okay, what are they doing? So we're going to push into here a little bit. And once they realise what's happened, it's already too late. About 200,000 Swiss troops push over and cut off all these troops over here. In a panic, Italy will try and push back, but will fail as they get pushed back a little bit further with this fail. And we see about 100,000 Italian troops surrender over here. That's a huge win for Switzerland, but it's not going to really lead to their victory against Italy. To be honest, in a real scenario, if Switzerland was actually this strong at this point, I don't think this war would really go anywhere. In my opinion, I think Switzerland was stalemate with Italy. So Switzerland just has a couple more goals in mind. The first one is the capture is trying to take Venice. This is a very brutal war, but with a lot of troops used up, they will be able to successfully capture Venice. Huge loss for Italy. Second goal is push Italy back as far as you can, and they push them out to here before Italy pushes them back. And yeah, it's a stalemate. And also, Albania's blue. So let's take a look at this peace treaty, because, well, no side's going to win here. And Libya didn't even get invaded, so I don't know what the point of them was being here. But, you know, let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, we can see that Switzerland annexes Venice as well as the northern part of Italy, which is what they wanted. And this is a huge win for Switzerland. Italy's kind of defeated, and they're kind of like, bro, did we seriously just lose to Switzerland? But, you know, you lost. Take it, suck it up. They did get Albania, though, so that should make them feel better. But at this point, Switzerland's empire is looking great. I mean, they've taken down 2 of the 3 big countries they were worried about fighting. So wait, what about we take down the next one? No, Switzerland's not going to do that. If Switzerland were to attack France, they would lose. I'm just going to straight up say it. Their capital is basically on the doorstep of France. All it takes is one good operation from France, and that capital is gone, which basically means your empire is done for, because Switzerland's main area of this empire, you know, there is the Balkans, and that's probably where Switzerland would go from now on, but honestly, I think Switzerland will be done. They got access to the coast, they took down 2 of the 3 major neighbours, and there's not really any point of pushing further into the Balkans, in my opinion. But Switzerland will try and make one more deal. To finish off their empire, they will go over to France and will be like, hey, can we push this Corsica? And France will actually agree. No, France will actually agree to a certain price. And Switzerland, maybe not for a good price, but they will buy Corsica. This is just to make sure they have an area over here. To make sure they have a pretty strong naval base over here in the Mediterranean, just in case Italy ever tries something again. Oops. But, you know, I don't think Italy will try anything again. At this point, Switzerland's stronger than Italy. And that's going to do it for this video. Really hope you enjoyed, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.